Welcome again to MentorUsLive, the only digital platform that connects you with the people that really are making it in the industry. And today, we are joined by one of my favorites. You see, before all this, I used to have a passion for photography, videography, and even design. And today, someone who I can say completely reflects what I desire to be is in the studio tonight with us. This guy started a couple of years ago, 8 years, and he started off as a graphic designer. Graphic designer, come a teacher, come a video editor, a DJ, and today he is a renowned photographer, shooting for some of the biggest corporates in the nation of Zimbabwe, ranging from GTEL, a mobile company, from Janjam, a fashion consortium, Edgar's, one of the biggest production and manufacturing firms in the country. This man is not new to the awards. 2017 saw him getting 2 consecutive awards. 2015, another in the fashion industry. Let's go straight into it and let us meet our guest for tonight, optimassArt. Wait a minute. I've always wanted to just find this out, and I've been arguing with my director. Please make me win. Does optimassArt come from Transformers? Optimus, transform.
Okay, definitely not. Although I'm a fan of the Optimus Prime, but Opti is basically something which you can see, something which is optical, something with reference of light, you know? And then mass is actually matter, like amount of matter. So amount of matter can be seen as value. So I add value to what people see. That's like how I see it, like I add value to what people see.
Oh gosh, that's so technical. You should have just said it's Transformers, you know, I could have won. Now my director is gonna win. But Elton, we just wanna welcome you to MentorUsLive, and we're excited. We just wanna know a little bit about you, you know, your early years before you started shooting people for a living. How did it all start?
Thank you, Pezzi. Okay, this is what actually transpired. I wrote my O-levels a year earlier, and weirdly, I didn't write English, so I was forced to go the extra year in Form 4. No, it's not extra though, but yeah, I was forced to go Form 4 to write English. So during that time, I had a lot of free time. That's when I started graphic designing. At that time, our family had a sort of a movie rental business, so I'd rent out movies, so design posters and flyers for that company. It was like a family firm. And then from then on, I was lucky to meet some of the guys who were really good in design that time, so they managed to mentor me. So yeah, coming from you guys, yeah, I know it's always good to have someone who can mentor you and show you the right direction. Yeah. And from then on, I'm someone who have always liked to create stuff. Like when I was younger, I thought I would be a scientist, engineer, creating stuff. Yeah. So yeah, creativity is something which is always, which I've always liked from like when I was young. So I mainly did design for 2 years, into the 3rd year, which was my upper 6th year. Then from that time, I started producing, beat making. I wouldn't say producing because I don't think most of you heard some of the songs, so I would call it beat making. Yeah. Okay. Beat making. So yeah, I did a few bits, managed to work with a few guys. One name I might mention might be Elton Bryce. He was executive producer for Bryce Music Nation.
Okay.
One thing that I might thank Bryce for, he noticed that I wasn't the best of beat makers.
You know, and that's really difficult because not many people will actually tell you the truth, eh? That, no, this is not you, my friend.
Yeah.
So Bryce told you that you're not good, and what did you get into
Not
next?
in words per se, but I noticed that it would take maybe 3, 4, 5 days to make a top-notch beat. And some of the producers that were there at the studio would take like maybe 2, 3 hours, and they would already have something ready to sell. So yeah, not saying that I'm someone who easily backs down, but I noticed, no, I'm not technically good at this.
Yeah.
So after that, since you know, after you leave school, you have to work, you have to hustle and all that, I had to go to Matunjeni. That time I was waiting for my A-level results. So I started working at Matwenjeni part-time.
MentorUsLive was a drink producer, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
They manufactured drinks. So when I first came in through, I was a general worker. What actually happened is that I brought in my certificate and they were like, no.
This doesn't work here.
This doesn't work here. Be a general worker.
Oh, wow.
So, you do anything which was there, like sweeping. There was a time you would carry 50 kgs of sugar from offloading trucks and everything. But I think that was part of the hustle. Yeah. And then 2 years working from Matwenjeni then closed down. Then from that moment, that's when I used my academic side. I went on and was a part-time teacher for like 2 terms.
Yeah.
I was teaching maths, physics, chemistry, and integrated science for all levels.
Okay.
Yeah. And then at the end of that year, that was end of 2012, I designed this nice slideshow for a guy who was called Colin Katedza.
Okay.
He owned a company which was called VoiceMark Production. So I'd always known him from 2008. So when I designed this, it was like, wow, this is like really good. I employ people to do this, and most of my guys can't even do this, you know. So it was like, no, come through. And they gave me it was giving me a better salary than I was getting at the school. And it was part of what I enjoyed, because when I was actually working at Matwenjeni, I would like design after work, It's something that I enjoyed doing.
It's a passion.
So this was like pleasure, working with pleasure at the same time. So I was enjoying what I was doing. So yeah, I worked with VoiceMark for a year, but I was mainly employed as an editor and designer. But when I got there were many cameras and everything, and I always liked taking pictures. So that's when I started taking pictures, really. So I would say I started taking pictures in 2012. So roll on to 2013, VoiceMark was now getting more clients, so there was like a shortage of photographers, and then they noticed, no, this guy can actually take good pictures. Then I started taking pictures for VoiceMark for a year. At the end of the year, I was arguably one of their best photographers at the end of the year. Then I had to move to SEC Events. SEC Events was a events management company. So they would manage events, so they would do the decor, the catering, everything, and then they had a photography package. So they employed me as the head of that department.
Yeah.
That was just 1 year from VoiceMark to SEC Events. So SEC Events again, I got to work for a year. And before that year actually, I'd say that year was my really turning point in photography. I had to believe in myself. So July. July is when I opened up a page on Facebook, optimassArt.
That was the season of social media, hey?
Yeah.
So optimassArt was not something you intended to start. You stumbled upon it.
Yes.
Now, how would you say that the employment phase prepared you for this? What principles did you capture when you were employed under some other people?
Okay, basic fundamentals of working under someone, you learn from their mistakes. Okay. And I'll tell you, I haven't done the mistakes that VoiceMark and SEC Events were doing. Okay. Up to date. I know I have my own mistakes, but I haven't done the mistakes they were doing. And the other thing, I now got the grasp of how the industry works. Which ones are your clients? How do you talk to clients? How do you prepare invoices, quotations, all that flow? Because at SEC Events, I was like head of photography department. So I would do like from the codes, replying emails, invoices, statements, everything. So I got to know how to run a proper business. And I thank them because they gave me the opportunity to understand how a business is actually run, Because, without that, I know some of my guys who might be better at some things, like in photography-wise, but they're bad business people, so.
Okay, and today it's like 9 years down the line within your entrepreneurship journey. Yeah. When you left your last employer, weren't you scared?
I was really scared, and it was a hard time. I would say this. I I would charge someone a photo shoot $50 and I would hire a camera for $50.
Wow.
So I would run a loss of transport and logistics just to get my name out there.
All
I
right.
remember I shot Sadak Fashion Week 2014. It should be 2014 or 2015 for free. Not because I really wanted to, but there were many photographers. That's where I met Michael and everyone. But I wanted some pictures that would prove that I'm a good photographer. Because I couldn't use pictures from VoiceMark and Sec Events because they were not my pictures.
Yeah.
I was contracted to do them under their company. So I wanted pictures which would work under optimassArt. And if you check the optimassArt Facebook page, the first 10 or so images are actually designs. Because they were actually 3D designs, flyers. I did a flyer for one of my homies called JFK Ice. I put those things up. And
So like your drive for business, your drive to launch Optimus, what would you identify as your major igniting point?
I'd say, there are two major factors. Doing what you love and fighting poverty. Because I really didn't want to be laying around doing nothing. And and I really always wanted to be a creative. And and I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. My dad was a really good entrepreneur, and I grew up in a very good entrepreneurial setup. I don't know how many business we ran as a family, from candle making, confectionery, all those things, buying and selling. My father was an electrician.
Okay.
He specialized in electronics. He actually had one of the most successful electronics company in Southern Africa.
Wow.
And was nominated for Guinness Who's and Who's of Africa as like good entrepreneurs.
So 2015 into 2016 seemed to be your breakthrough years. This saw you crossing the borders, shooting for Forbes Africa. You had a multiple number of awards in 2016, especially in the fashion industry. Like, what were the principles that you used in order to actually grasp all these benefits for these 2 years?
Okay, I'd say determination, working with the right people, knowing how to treat your clientele. When your client is your friend, they can fight for you even when your product is not as good. But I'm not saying my product wasn't as good. But I'm saying, there's that extra drive, Yeah. Let's say I'm booked for the 16th. My client wants something on the 16th. They would say, no, okay, maybe I should move my birthday to the next weekend.
Oh, wow.
Party, so that
That's
we
loyalty.
can do this. And then some clients, even corporates, would say, when are you free so that we can do the shoot? So I think relationships are key as well, not changing your clients, as well working with the right people. Because I think the past years I've worked with the right people, from the makeup artist, the hairstylist, my creative team, people who I associate with, even the clientele that I draw close to myself. I don't, there are times when I select clientele, when I'm saying, this client is not good for my brand.
All right.
So all those things are really key. And going to the SA side, there was a bit of luck and a bit of technical know-how of how I do my things. The main difference between me and many other photographers, mainly is because I'm a strobist. It's very rare for you to see me taking without my light, because I know what I want, so I better modify it to how I want it. So that's the technical part.
You spoke something that I'm very keen on understanding. You mentioned that you're very picky when it comes to the clients you pick, as well as those that work for you. People say customer is king, but then recent studies have shown that even the employee has to be treated as a king in order for your customer to be king. So what are the principles that you use to pick the people that run with your vision as optimassArt? What is your selection criteria?
Basically, we should have the same mindset, same goal, driven. I think that's what's key. Going the same direction, You don't want someone some guys will be pulling you back, you know. So yeah, I think when I see someone there's shared vision, we're fighting for the same cause. It's not only the money that we're looking for, also like we want it to be creative and everything. Then I think that's the right guy to work with, yeah.
And we've been observing on your social media platform that you've taken some of the hit wonders locally, the Winky D's, which is he's not even upcoming. I mean, he is the king of dancehall. I've got a wide collection of his music. You know, I hope this gets me, free tickets to his shows. You've got Winky D, you've got Jar Praiser, you've got a number of models, you've got entrepreneurs and business people. What is the distinguishing factor of the optimassArt brand with every other photographer out there? Why do they have to pick you?
Okay, I'll tell you what my clients always tell me.
Okay.
They say my images are clean, vibrant, and colorful and catchy. Yeah, those are the main key factors. And then I always manage to sell the idea that my client has. Although I might improve it, but I always manage to bring out what they are looking for.
Speaking in terms of the creativity, you say you always bring out what your client is looking for. Are we saying that our industry in terms of photography and visual arts, is it limited to our clients, or is it that our photographers themselves have kind of narrowed themselves to looking for the money? So you find there's only wedding photography, there's portraits. I've never seen architectural photographers. I've never seen many wildlife photographers. What is this thing? Why is it just all narrowed to that one specific type?
Okay, with everything that you do, there's a survival factor. Mm-hmm. So unless you're doing photography part-time, it's hard to survive as an architectural photographer in Zimbabwe. I know a few guys who do architectural photography, but that's like part-time to their main genre of photography. So yeah, the thing is, our economy sort of cuts on things which are not really necessary for your well-being. So people, they rarely buy artifacts, you know. Yeah. In the UK, like recently, someone bought a portrait of Leonardo da Vinci for 450 million, and those figures are unheard of in Zimbabwe. So it's hard for you to do conceptual art and try to sell it without a sole buyer. I think it's get the client first to do the job rather than do the job, then look for a client.
Okay, you've been running for 9 years. So obviously within our Zimbabwean climate, there are a couple of people who've gone ahead of you that you look at and you admire. What 3 things would you say, in fact, let's start with saying who is it, and what 3 things do you aspire or do you admire about those specific photographers, if it's one or more? Okay,
I'd start with locally. Locally, I'm a really fan for Henry Oliver photography.
Okay.
He's now a friend of mine, but yeah, I like he's really diverse. He does architecture, weddings, portraiture, and everything, and there's a very good artistic eye, as well as Kudzai Chakaingesu, now Kudzai King. Kudzai King is one guy, would I say, he's very artistic, okay. And he sees the world in a different way. And yeah, on a creative perspective, I like those guys. On moving forward perspective, my role models are more of international than local.
Okay.
I really like the life story of Cristiano Ronaldo. Why? People say he's not as talented.
Okay.
But he's the best. You know? It's one thing which is really key. Hard work. So whenever I feel like I need to work hard, I think of Cristiano Ronaldo and what he has achieved, coming from nothing to being the best. So yeah, I know it's not related to photography, but yeah, that's really key for me. And as of international photography, I look forward to any labels, Steve Casting from SA, Michael from here as well. he started photography at a later age, but is now one of the best event photographers in Zimbabwe at this moment. Yeah, and Julia Kushmenko, based on his attention to detail, his art is really flawless. You can never find a fault on it. So yeah, those are like my key sources of inspiration. Yeah.
Wow, that is a pool of mentors. Now, we are going to get deeper into the discussion of the entrepreneurial side of the arts as soon as we come back from this break. Welcome back to MentorUsLive, the only digital platform that connects you to those that are in the industry making it big, and you, the audience, who have a desire to learn, because you know that you can be far better than you are right now. Tonight we're joined by optimassArt, Elton himself, the man who has taken awards for being the best within the industry. I like the statement he says, talent is overrated, hard work pays. Now, talking about hard work and talent being something that should not be a defining factor, I want you to just help the audience. I know that within the audience we have aspiring photographers. We do have those that are even seasoned. What 3 pieces of advice would you give to someone who is in your craft? Okay,
I'll say always be prepared, like plan your shoots. A half-planned job is a job almost done,
Yeah.
And then I'd say, yes, people say gear is not key, but yeah,
okay,
it's really key to have good gear. Yeah, It's really key to have good gear. Then thirdly, I'd say work hard. Yeah. If you notice all the things that I've told you, they're not really technical, they're not like jargons, but yeah, work hard. Work hard.
When you look at your crafts, the world is in a position whereby it's urging everyone to contribute somehow to social change, be it financially, with your skill, or even just in terms of advice. Now, when optimassArt is at home laying back and resting, what is the one social problem within your country, Zimbabwe, that you feel that optimassArt was created to solve?
I'll basically say appreciation of art and good art, because if you look from the previous batch of photographers, I would say they were not as artistic. They're just taking money. So we want to take the money the right way, giving the client what they deserve. Yeah.
And just out of interest, you were once a teacher,
yeah,
of course. Would you ever go back into the trade of teaching, but teaching the arts?
Okay, it's something that I've really thought of deeply. As most guys might know, I didn't go to school for this. Yes, I might be technically good, but it's always hard to teach something that you know. So I'll say after I get my academics in order, definitely I'll teach photography. Because yeah, I really want Zimbabwe to be known as a country with some of the great photographers. Like, Nigeria has a lot of great photographers, even South Africa and Ghana. So yeah, I'd say I would really want to challenge my fellow Zimbabweans to join this craft and show the world that,
I'll be your first client, man. I really have a passion for how you actually run the craft of photography. I like a catchphrase that I once saw you wearing. It says, "I shoot people for a living."
Yeah.
I mean, in Africa, you get arrested for that, you know what I mean? But let's talk about breaking the borders. Tell me what you see photography to be 5-10 years from now.
Okay, this is the thing. The main reason I'm not a natural light photographer is based on that everyone owns a camera in their pocket. And you need to separate yourself from that camera that they have to give them something way behind.
Yeah.
So technology will keep improving. So, yeah, I'm not a prophet, but I know...
Prophesy.
I know what photography will move from being just a still to short videos. Like very short dynamic videos.
Okay.
That one I can tell you. So that maybe the model will be still, but the background is moving, sort of GIFs. So that, people will be taking GIFs and yeah, something like that.
And have you started creating an innovative way of introducing your clients to this mode? Because I mean, you're saying it's going to be short bursts of motion photography.
Yeah.
That's almost like Snapchat, whether it's Facebook Live. Okay, that's more video. But in terms of the innovation, how have you managed to bring it in, or you're still in the process?
Yeah, I'm thinking it through. You know, technically with what I use now, it's close to impossible. But yeah, it's something which I'm trying to find shortcuts in improving and setting myself apart from the market. But yeah, it's something that I really think of, because that's the new thing. You know, incorporating your pictures with sound and everything. Yeah, I know people will say that's video, but yeah, that will be the next thing for photography.
Wow. Elton, you've obviously had a couple of points in your career and in your craft that you have experienced downsides. Tell me a bit about the low points within your craft and how you managed to overcome them to be the success that you are today.
Okay, first and foremost, I would want to say my biggest error was trying to do both photography and video, subcontracting people, blah, 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 that years. For me, I noticed I cannot control that bigger team, so I stopped doing video. I was like, no, let me specialize. And this is one challenge with Zimbabweans. We don't understand the thing called specialization. And when you specialize, your rewards are more because you're putting your effort in one thing. You know?
Yeah.
They always say, put all your force in this punch, and then it's better than many light punches. So yeah, I'd say that was my main downfall. I'd say starting off doing both photography and video. But I say, yeah, that was the main one. The second one was probably underestimating probably what the industry looks for in me. Okay. You know, you may not realize that you're a role model to some other guys. And then communication is key to them. It's always better to be seen as someone who's like pompous and everything. That's another thing. Yeah, the next time you need help, no one will help you. And the third thing was saying without equipment, it's impossible. And I would like to leave this to everyone who's watching this, that possibility is a choice. Choose to do it and you do it. Yeah. And put your plans on paper.
Write it down.
Yeah,
because if it's not in writing, it definitely does not exist.
Yes.
That's a common phrase. That's from one of our mentors and our coaches.
Yeah.
But I like what you said, that a lot of Zimbabweans don't know how to specialize. They always want to cut the corners. They want to put so much onto themselves. Now that brings me to the question of photography as an industry in Zimbabwe. Would you say that it's an actual industry? Are people skilled enough for it? Or people are just kind of trying to look for something to make money?
Okay, this is what I'll say. Zimbabwe is a developing country, and almost every industry that is in Zimbabwe is in its infancy. Almost every other industry. Same with football. We cannot compare Zimbabwean football with French or Brazilian football. So yeah, I would say Zimbabwean photography is an industry based on the fact that wedding photography is a huge, the monies that are made in wedding photography is really huge. Although I'm not like mainly a wedding photographer, but yeah, I'd say the money that's made in wedding photography is really huge. You see, we have many billboards, everything. It means we have consumption for commercial pictures. And, you know, with the introduction of Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, all those social media platforms, they're bringing that demand for quality images. Because, you know, everyone now wants to be on top of the game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, photography is slowly becoming a big industry, and more players are coming through. I remember when I came through into the industry, you'd like know almost every other photographer, but now there are like grades of photographers. They're like small ones, big ones, established ones. So yeah, those are factors.
And in terms of the financial viability of the photography, just tell us a bit, you might not be specific, of course, in terms of figures, but tell us, is it something that is really sustainable? And how have you managed to gain your growth in terms of your financial management?
I would say it's sustainable because, yeah, I'm earning a living from it. And I know many other guys who are earning like a living from it. And yes, it's not what we would expect, but we're getting there.
Okay.
I have faith that we're getting there. And slowly our clients are starting to appreciate, because the main challenge from the yesteryears was our clients couldn't differentiate between good quality and bad quality images. So now, since there's that differentiation and people can see the difference, I think we're going far. Yeah, I see us getting there, getting close to the American industry. And you know, America, photographers,
oh, yeah,
industry is more than $1 billion a year, so yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that was such an amazing dialogue, Alton. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight. And Mentor Us, the only digital platform that brings you people like Optimus to talk to us and tell us more and deeper things about their industry. Take home points. I definitely have mastered that talent is overrated. You always have to plan, and you always have to be prepared. So until we meet again for the next episode, I hope that you are taking notes and you are mastering. Follow us on this media platform, and we'll meet again next time. Ciao.